Switzerland is a great place for new technology companies. You can look at Switzerland as one impressive ecosystem where top researchers, entrepreneurs, multinational companies and investors interact together to create better solutions for a better world. With SwissTech, we are trying to do two things. On one hand, we are providing an opportunity for the companies to get in touch with new clients, with new partners, with new investors. On the other hand, we also showcase these companies to a larger audience. Together, the Swiss government and these companies can benefit from a strong, already very strong, Swiss brand in innovation. Switzerland and Japan are facing similar challenges, each in society, public health, climate change. At CEATEC, you're able to witness and see how different tech companies address these challenges and turn them into opportunities.
We have 3 focus topics in our swisstech.Pitchinar, highlighting Swiss startups that answer to Japan's needs. Firstly, smart cities. AI-based acoustic or sound analysis for monitoring. Vertical farming at home. The most secure 3D finger vein biometric authentication system. High-resolution climate monitoring. These technologies will bring daily life in Japan to a new level of safety, security, and convenience. Then smart health. The world's first AI-based pre-operational planning for cardiac surgeries. Patient-specific, realistic 4D neurosurgical simulators. The world's first non-invasive solution for urinary retention. They cater to Japan's aging but technology-receptive society perfectly. Last but not least, human-machine interaction. Holographic augmented reality displays for the car industry and beyond. AI-based avatar guides that listen and read the customer in front of the screen. Noise cancellation for the noisiest environments and your speakerphone. Mobile app not only for enterprise-grade barcode scanning, but for text or object recognition through augmented reality overlays. They allow us to benefit from the digital sensations of the future economy.
Join us at the SwissTech Pavilion and at the Pitchinar at CEATEC. Join us online. We're looking forward to meeting you.
Konbanwa, Japan, and welcome to the swisstech.Pitchinar 2020. My name is Tanya Koenig, and as you can see, I'm still enjoying my morning tea. So to everyone who is joining from Switzerland, konnichiwa to you. It's my pleasure to guide you throughout this additional event organized by the Embassy of Switzerland in Japan during the CEATEC 2020 exhibition, which is Japan's biggest electronic fair and is happening online this year. First, I'd like to leave the stage to Dr. Andreas Baum, soon to be ambassador of Switzerland in Japan, who will tell you more on the theme and why this event is so dear to him. Mr. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you for your kind introduction. Dear guests, presenters, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the swisstech.Pitchinar 2020. I've arrived in Japan 3 weeks ago and look forward to serving as the new ambassador of Switzerland to Japan after officially presenting my credentials. Since the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak, our lifestyles have drastically changed and we cannot predict the end of the ongoing pandemic. Despite these complex circumstances, it is essential, while staying prudent and safe, to find new ways of maintaining and even improving the quality of our everyday work and life. In this spirit, I'm grateful that this event can be held virtually in the framework of the CEATEC Japan 2020 online exhibition. The Embassy decided to participate because we believe that Switzerland can significantly contribute to this year's topic, Society 5.0, focusing on Japan's intended super smart and human-centric society. Japan and Switzerland are among the world's fastest aging populations. The need for smart cities, smart healthcare, and the efficient use of machines is thus a pressing challenge. Various social issues require rapid technological advances. Today, based on innovative technologies, 11 Swiss startups will introduce their very own solutions for Society 5.0 towards maintaining and strengthening prosperous and vital population. Our hope is that this swisstech.Pitchinar 2020 will add further substance to the ties between our two countries and result in concrete, fruitful collaborations between Swiss startups and Japanese partners. I thank you and wish us all great success.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. As you've heard, we have picked 11 Swiss startups that are tackling the many problems an aging society faces and divided them into 3 sessions, which are smart cities, smart health, and humans and machines. And we'll hear a 3-minute pitch of each startup, followed by a Q&A with an expert who will ask the hard but relevant questions and also provide feedback. So I would say let's kick off with the session Smart Cities. Our 4 startups are Securexis, MeteoBlue, Yasai, and Global ID. And they want to bring citizens' daily life to a new level of convenience and safety, and thus transform today's cities into smarter ones. And the expert in this session for the Q&A then is Shunpei Kobayashi. He's a Ventures Associate for Mobility and Smart Cities at Plug and Play Japan. Before that, he has worked at a global sustainability consultancy and also knows the investment banking sector from his former job at Merrill Lynch Japan Securities. Shunpei holds an MBA from UCLA Anderson School of Management. So we'll hear more from him after the first pitch. So let me introduce you to our first startup. Securexis found a solution to add the missing layer to smart cities, the hearing. Curious? Then let's hear more from the company's CEO, Glenn Melander. The stage is yours.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon. My name is Glenn Melander and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Securexis. Next, please. If you live in a city, you know what urban noise is. It's a big issue today. More and more people are living in cities, and we know that by mid-century, 2/3 of the population will be living in the city, and this creates a big problem in terms of health, in terms of infrastructure. Cities need to invest more and more in order to accommodate all these people. Today, there are many sensors, but there are no way to really listen to what's going on in order to take action. Next. We have created a very simple but yet very efficient solution using acoustics and deep learning. We are using the signal noise coming from the city and then drawing action in order for the city to make sure that citizens are really living in a well environment. Next, sorry. The solution is very simple, as I said, but first of all, it's thanks to the noise, thanks to acoustics, we can really make sure that the privacy of citizens is respected because we don't draw any raw data from the streets. like unlike cameras that are recording. We are not recording anything. But also, it's really a very cost-efficient solution because it's a fraction of the price comparing to other monitoring systems like camera or others, as I said. And it's very easy to scale up because the system can be deployed very easily in each corner of the street or even on cars, on buses, for instance. Next. In a nutshell, what you can do, you can monitor the traffic 80% cheaper than other solutions like cameras. You can save up electricity consumption from the city up to 60%. You can also understand the noise which is coming from the city and you can make action in order to reduce it. You can monitor the security even when you cannot see. And you can monitor animals, wildlife in the human environment all the time. And then again, make action in order to preserve them. Next. Customers are system integrators or utility providers, then who will resell our solution to cities and authorities.
Glenn,
Next.
thank you so much. Thank you very much for giving our cities the ears they don't have yet. Please stay on the stream. We'll now go to the Q&A. So I ask Shunpei Kobayashi to join the stream now for the Q&A with Glenn Melander. Thank you very much for your inspiring presentation.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Glenn. Thank you very much for that great presentation. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, perfect. So very interesting technology. I've seen it used in other industries as well, including manufacturing. Could you talk a little bit about why you chose this specific case of using it in a city setting?
I'm sorry, specific case of what? Because that our customers are rather utility providers than cities? That's your question?
Oh yeah, I guess my question is why you have chosen to use your technology for specifically for roads and infrastructure instead of using it in like a manufacturing and factory setting.
Okay. Yes, because this is where there is a need. I would say that as a startup, we have to focus where there is a niche market in the smart city area. Noise monitoring and sound monitoring for manufacturers is already present. You have what we call noise camera today that are manufacturing monitoring machines and things like that. But in the street, we don't have anything. If you take the case, we have several installations here in Europe. Let's take Geneva, for instance. In Geneva, there are many initiatives around reducing the traffic noise, but there is no means to detect it. It's impossible, and I'm taking my mug as well. There is no way to detect it. There is no way to measure it, and that's a big problem. So that's why we wanted to adapt our technology for the cities instead of manufacturers.
Got it, makes sense. I'm sure a lot of Japanese cities have the same problems. If you could work with any Japanese companies or entities, who would be the ideal partners for you guys to enter this market in Japan?
Thank you for the question. We are working already with people, or companies working in the field of traffic-based lighting. So detecting the traffic, for instance, in order to reduce the light when there is no need, then you can, of course, make electricity consumption reduction. But also we are working with companies that want to monitor the noise when a city is very noisy and you want to understand where the noise is coming from, finding the source of the noise, which is a big issue today, because we know that noise has an impact on the health of people. So that's typically this type of company. Or also a company working on video monitoring, and they would like to also hear what's going on and make action based on, security issues based on the sound, like, screamings, loud music, gunshots, this type of thing.
Thank you very much. Time is up. Thank you very much, Glenn from SecureXis and Shumpei. And we'll see you later again. Thank you very much. Okay, we go to our next startup, Meteor Blue. They have developed several tools to assess the best meteorological sensor locations within a city and in the surrounding areas. This is key to providing reliable information for managing a city's climate change mitigation measures. CEO Carl Gutbrod is here to tell you why.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you, the largest cities in the world, and probably the most advanced, and bringing Swiss technology together into those cities should help them get another step forward. Please, next. As you know, cities are going to be the most affected by climate change because as temperatures rise, cities will heat up even more, especially in the mid-latitudes as Switzerland, as Japan. So we have to think about what impact that will make on our future cities. Next one. We want to equip cities with systems which can help them monitor and plan for the future. So it's a modern city climate plug and play approach which can be installed in every smart city. Next one, please. How does it work? We measure by putting cheap IoT sensors in defined locations of a city. Then we model and create total city maps with 1 meter resolution showing the temperature and other factors. And then we plan and we help you plan for example, climate change scenarios, city planning scenarios, and mitigation results monitoring. Next one, to give you an idea. Next one, please. Here is a city network. Next one is we create very detailed maps. And next one, if you can move on to the slide show. Next one, please. You will see the impact a city change has on reducing temperature if you introduce changes into that system. The difference to previous systems is this is real-time operational. It's not just a study for 1 year and then extract data for another year to create some maps. Next one. Technology which enables us to do it is miniature stations, which are now available. It is IoT transmission. It is artificial intelligence and satellite images, which help us map cities with a high level of detail and then calculate the weather information. Next slide, please. This system can be applied to heat management, flood warnings, or pollution assessment. And it offers real-time monitoring, climate change scenarios, what will happen in 5 to 50 and 100 years, and city planning tools. And it is affordable. It costs less than 1 million to install and operate. The next one. What we're looking for is pilot cities for implementation, distribution partners in countries like Japan, and technology partners to develop functions like air pollution assessment and city planning for the future. So with this, we want to make a change and change climate change, and now. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much, Carl Gutbrod. Thank you for your research as well. I would just like to quickly mention to our audience, if you want to get in touch with any of the startups, you will see a QR code throughout the Pitchinar, which you can scan, and you will land on a page with all the contacts of the startups. Then I would like to ask Shumpei, our expert back on the stream, to ask a few questions, and you have 2.5 minutes time for that.
Hi, Carl. Thank you very much for being here. It was a very interesting presentation. Just to clarify, I wanted to ask if the strength of your company is in the ability to find the right locations for these sensors, or the sensors itself?
It's in everything. It's location, it's finding the right sensors, is collecting all the data and operating a system which gives you real-time hourly doorstep weather. So you can see the difference between your door and your terrace, or your bus stop or the park nearby.
Makes sense. So you guys make the sensors as well?
No, we source the sensors. We make the artificial intelligence and the delivery systems. And this enables us to plug and play, adapt sensors depending on the need of the city.
I see, I see. And I was also wondering, do you guys use any external data when you're doing these analysis? And if so, how do you get these data for different cities?
We use satellite data to map the cities and differentiate between the different structures in a city. We use weather data from global and our own regional models to run the forecasts, for example. And of course, we use some artificial intelligence on, let's say, sky view factors and reflection of cities to calculate the impact of the weather then on every building or on every structure in the city.
Are you guys currently active in the APAC region, or which areas do you guys still cover?
We're currently active in Europe, and we're looking for high-tech countries which have a need and an ability to implement such systems. Of course, the ultimate goal is to do this worldwide, because we have so many cities that are under this pressure that they need to do something. And the advantage is that they can actually monitor what they're doing in the city. Whereas in the past, it's just been a study, and then you do something and you have no idea whether that park or that new building actually, or that change in sealing the surface actually has produced an effect or not.
Got it. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you very much to both of you. So we go to our next startup. In order to be able to feed the world's growing population in a sustainable way, we need to farm food with less. Yasai promises exactly that with their vertical farming services, not only for our well-being, but for the well-being of plants and for the planet itself. Mark Zachran, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, and good morning. I'm Mark, co-founder and CEO of the ETH spin-off, Yasai. Yasai means vegetables in Japanese, as you might know. And our goal, our aim is to grow more with less, with vertical farming. Next. Why do we do this? This is the spaceship of humanity that we all share and care for. By 2050, we will be 10 billion people and 60% urbanized. More people than ever before, but at the same time, we will have the same resources to manage our planet. The food industry today has by far the largest impact on Earth. Next, please. About 40% of all ice-free land is used to produce food for 8 billion people. Next, please. 70% of all fresh water, next, and 30% of all greenhouse gas emissions are produced by the food industry. This is why we want to grow more with less by integrating vertical farming. We can produce 15 times more per square meter all year round with 95% less fresh water and 0 pesticides or food miles. Next, please. But we go beyond normal vertical farming and actually create a circular food system. Our farms not just produce fresh food for the people living in the smart cities, but also reuse the waste as a resource, such as, for instance, wastewater and bio-waste or organic waste. Next. So we understand vertical farming as an infrastructure for cities of the future where we can create smart synergies to be able to get the best possible solution in economic terms and also ecological terms. Next, please. We as Yasai offer farming as a service, which means we can enable everyone to grow food. We build and operate vertical farms for our customers. Next, please. And like this, by integrating vertical farming within the smart cities of tomorrow, we can create a significant impact. We tackle 8 out of 17 UN SDGs. Next, please. And like this, we can empower everyone to grow more with less, especially also in a city like Tokyo. Next, please. Arigato. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark Zachran. I actually can't wait to try one of those vertical farm salads. Yeah, so I'm gonna ask Shunpei Kobayashi back on the stream for the Q&A, and you also have 2.5 minutes.
Hi, Mark. Thank you very much for that presentation. Just out of interest, wanted to know a little bit more about the team and why you guys decided to find this company and name it Yasai.
Of course, our team is very diverse, so we are a very interdisciplinary team of experts in architecture, engineering, but also business and finance. I myself, I'm an architect, so I like space. And we founded it for several reasons and named it Yasai because it is actually in Japan, vertical farming has been rising for much longer than ever in every other nation. So this is kind of a giving an honor to this nation.
I see. Interesting. Also, who would be your typical customers? Would it be individuals, farmers, or large enterprises? Who would it be?
In Europe, we work with big retailers and wholesalers, but in regions such as the Middle East, will be even governments, or Asia, it might be even government, Singapore, for instance. And in Tokyo, if you want to connect us, we would be very happy to talk to people from cities, city governments.
Mm-hmm. I see. In terms of localization in Japan, do you foresee any challenges that are unique to the Japanese market?
Yes, our own name, the brand, but because of IP reasons. And yeah, besides that, I think Japan would be the perfect market because it's very technology driven and very straightforward, and people are already sensibilized for this product.
Great. And in terms of the products that you can produce through your the actual vegetables, like can you produce anything or is it limited to certain types?
Theoretically, we can produce anything, but it's always depending on the economical context. So in Switzerland, herbs and leafy greens are very profitable, and more products are becoming economically feasible.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you very much, Mark and Shunpei. Thank you. We go to our last startup in this session. With more and more digital tools, we need to identify ourselves more often online. And while doing that, we often share sensitive data. Global ID developed a biometric identification system which can't be replicated and guarantees your privacy. Riccardo De Filippo tells you more.
Thank you, Tanya. Hello, everyone. We are Global ID. We do the 3D biometric authentication, and our focus is really on being private, first of all, and we'll see the other features. Next, please. So every day we turn on the news and hear of the damages caused by stolen or faked identities. And this is because we still today authenticate people using weak methods. Cards, devices, PIN codes, passwords, and questions, they can all be lost, forgotten, stolen, or faked. Fingerprints, 2D veins, face, iris, and voice can be faked. And except for the veins, remember, we are spreading them all over the place. Our fingerprints, our face, our voice, and so on. So clearly that is not private. We need to really stop this. And this need is what defined our mission to create a strong authentication method that we do not give away or lose or have stolen or have faked. In other words, something truly private. A method that lowers risks and costs for the individual, for business, and for public service. After all, this is about protecting the authenticity of our identity. Next. After a lot of work, we accomplished the mission. We designed and patented the 3D finger vein scanner and data system. Finger veins are stable over a lifetime, and only once every 3 billion people you would find the same 3D pattern. The scanner takes multiple views of finger veins and uses them to generate a very, very unique 3D digital finger key. The key cannot be reversed back to the original biometric data, ensuring further privacy. The key is enciphered within the scanner before any transmission and use, increasing privacy. And most of all, you cannot have your finger captured by mistake, so it cannot be stolen or given away. We obtain a worldwide patent on the scanning, processing, secure transmission protocols, and the recognition of the finger keys. Next. To achieve this, Global Ideas brought together leading research institutes of Switzerland. A lot of work was done because the mission was very challenging. The progression was solid and steady, first scientific, then technical through tests and pilots. You know, in Switzerland, we like to say, go as fast as possible, but as slowly as needed. This is about privacy and security. So we also have the backing of our consumer association, which proves the importance of respecting privacy. Next. So we solve a broad range of authentication scenarios, from complex, large-scale distributed authentication of identity, such as for smart cities, countries, and international organizations, to the local authentication at a machine or device. This makes our solution applicable in public and private use, healthcare, banking, hospitality, security, and international scale organization.
Thank you very much. Sorry, time is up, so I have to interfere. Thank you so much, Ricardo De Filippo. It's a very important topic. People are becoming more and more concerned about privacy. I actually recently did a Vox Pop. I went on the street and asked people, and that was one of the topics they told me. Okay, so we have Shunpei Kobayashi back on the stream for a short Q&A, and you have 2.5 minutes for that as well.
Hi, Ricardo. Thank you very much for being here and giving that presentation. I think the technology has a vast amount of applications, so it's very relevant to the Japanese market as well. I understand that the technology saves cost in terms of not losing identities, but in terms of the product itself, is it cheaper than traditional methods?
Well, in terms of operating costs, you have to consider that every time you lose or forget a PIN, a question, a card of those devices, that's a big operating cost for whoever is the ID operator, from state to bank and others. Also to yourself, every time you lose your wallet, it's a nightmare, right? Because you say, my God, how long is that going to take? These are crazy costs. Not to mention, of course, in terms of security, all the data breach stories we hear about, where people manage through social phishing and other to get login information. The latest was British Airways for £20 million fee. This happens all the time. So in terms of costs, you have to compare the two things. In terms of units, yes, we are possibly a little bit more expensive than a badge reader, but in terms of what the result is and the convenience, it's like, say, imagine checking into your favorite hotel and restaurant with just using one finger. That's pretty convenient.
Makes sense. I also wanted to get a hang of where this technology has been implemented so far and what kind of companies you usually work with.
So we are still in the pilot phase. The pilot we recently completed was at a Swiss hospital. The application is patient data access control. So all the medical personnel in the hospital, whenever they need to access patient data, they would just present their finger. And that was also a pleasant discovery because the scanner works with dry, wet, dirty, or fingers in a medical glove. So in these days of COVID and worries, you know, disinfectants, gloves, and so on are not a problem. So in the hospital, it was really to access the patient data. Another partner we're experimenting with is in the payment services, where the idea is to augment a payment terminal by using a 3D finger vein scanner. So you would confirm your payment or sign an action by identifying yourself through the 3D vein pattern.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was it for the first session, and thank you to the 4 startups in this category. If you are as inspired as I am, then you can scan the QR code that is on the slides. You see them throughout the whole event, usually on the introduction slide of each startup, so you can scan it to land on the page with all the contacts of all the startups. Okay, and before we move on to our second session, here's a short video which showcases how innovative Switzerland is. Welcome back to session 2 and the theme of smart health. As you might know, Japan's society is aging faster than any other country, and as a consequence, there's a growing shortage of labor force in the health sector. We will therefore hear from 3 Swiss medtech companies on how to tackle those issues. But first, let me introduce you to our expert in this session. It's Dr. Taku Nakahara. He's a bioinformatician by training and currently an entrepreneur and venture capitalist. He's a venture partner at Fast Track Initiative, a Japanese life science focused venture capital, and he is also the CEO of Metagen Therapeutics, a microbiome therapeutics company in Japan. And we'll hear from him after each pitch again for the Q&A. Okay, well, our first startup in the session, Smart Health, is Urodea. And as the name already indicates, it's here to help patients suffering from urinary retention to be able to empty their bladder in a non-invasive and hygienic way, leading to happy bladders. Francesco Clavica has the details.
So hello, everyone. I'm Francesco Clavica. I'm the CEO of Urodea. We provide the world's first non-invasive solution for urinary retention. Next. To start, do you remember last time when you really had to go to the bathroom? Okay, now I want you to recall the incredible sense of happiness that you experienced when you finally found a bathroom where you could use it. Next. You may have felt like this man over here. Next. Because of either a weak bladder muscle or a large prostate. This condition is more prevalent among men. Approximately 50 million men are suffering from urinary retention in the European Union. This condition worsens with age and leads to incomplete bladder emptying and urinary tract infections. Next. Unfortunately, there are no non-invasive solutions available for these patients. Besides surgical options, today's approach is based on catheters. But we all know that catheters are associated with a very high degree of discomfort, bleeding, sense of humiliation, and last but not least, with urinary tract infections. Despite the very high prevalence of urinary retention, all invasive treatment exists. Well, this was until Urodea. Next. Urodea provides the world's first non-invasive solution for urinary retention. Our patent-pending technology can empty a bladder, avoiding contact with urine. After conducting proof-of-concept studies, we have developed a first product for men, and we have a similar solution for women in the pipeline. It is a medical device which is non-invasive, totally external, and it eliminates the risk of infections. It is handheld and discreet, as it can be taken out only when needed. Next. There is no comparable solution available on the market, which means no non-invasive competing product exists. Devices and treatments for urinary retention represent a multi-billion global market. The market of urological devices is expected to grow of 7% in the next 5 years. And this is because of the aging population and the increase in awareness about urological problems. Next. Where are we today? We conducted our proof of concept investigations, which have shown that our device can completely empty the bladder. Following this, we filed 2 patents and developed the first prototype for male population. Our first male clinical study will start in the next few months, and we plan to reach the CE mark and the product launch in Switzerland by 2023. Next. We designed Urodea to help million people all over the world to improve their quality of life and regain their self-esteem. And we hope that after this presentation today, you want to help us achieve this goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesco. I think I'm glad that there are startups around like that, that once I'm old, there will be solutions for the many problems. Thank you so much. We're asking Taku Nakahara here back, yeah, or welcome to you. And you also have 2.5 minutes to ask a few questions.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Francesco. This is a very interesting technology. And first of all, yeah, it's non-invasive, it's fantastic. But do you anticipate any adverse effect or side effect that can be caused by this device?
Well, I would say I hope not. This is why we are starting our first in-man clinical study in the next few months. So far, we have tested in ex vivo organs from animals, and now we are funded by a Swiss grant, that is a Swiss grant that is covering us the production of the first prototype that we already achieved, and we are going to try in the patients. So we're going to test the safety and the efficacy of the device.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so will this be, if that's the case, will this be the class 1, the medical device, or 2?
Will be 2A.
2A, okay, got it. And I did a quick Google search, and found that the Medtronics have a similar electronic stimulation to care about this type of symptoms. So how do you think about them? I mean, will be the competitor to you, or do you see any collaboration with Medtronics in the future?
So Medtronic is a pacemaker. This is implanted as electrical stimulation. Mm-hmm. So since it's implanted, of course, you have a high risk of infections. Ours is completely external. It's a mechanical pumping, so it's not electrical pumping, and it's totally invasive. So we really eliminate the risk of infections.
Okay, got it. And speaking of Japan, what can I do for you? So what is your strategy to get into the Japanese market, and what can I do as a venture capitalist?
Of course, we are very interested in the Japanese market and in all countries that are facing the aging population. And that would be nice in your case, because now we are first testing our technology and we are also studying how to access the market. So we would like to be connected to doctors, urologists, and also distributors of medical device technology. So if you could help us in this goal, that would be great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. 2.5 minutes. Thank you so much, Francesco and Taku Nakahara.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you.
Every 1.7 seconds, one person around the world dies from cardiovascular diseases. High-D Imaging develops the world's first AI-based pre-operational planning tool, which enables physicians to perform personalized planning and allows to improve patients' quality of life after cardiac operations. And Utku Gülen is here to tell you more.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for the kind introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Utku Gülen. I'm the CEO and co-founder at High-D Imaging. We are an ETH spin-off medtech startup company based in Winterthur, Switzerland, and we are developing the world's first AI-based cardiac planning tool. Next, please. Every 1.7 seconds, someone dies of cardiovascular diseases, and around 2.3 billion gigabytes of digital healthcare data is created only in 2020 for the treatment and diagnosis of these patients. Next, please. Then the question is, how efficiently do we use this data? The main problem in the heart centers today is that physicians make life-threatening decisions with too little data under limited time for the treatment of millions of patients. And most of the patients receive safe treatment despite the fact that we have different anatomies. So it's clear that there's an unmet need for personalized treatment, time-saving solutions, and post-operational predictions. Next, please. To overcome these problems and cover these needs, we developed the world's first AI-based cardiac planning tool, which is a combination of different state-of-the-art technologies like in vitro imaging, computer vision, fluid dynamics, and artificial intelligence. Next, please. What if your future heart could talk to you? Assume that you have a cardiac operation on Tuesday and your physician will use High-D Imaging software to perform pre-operational planning. Next, please. Just one day before the operation, with our software, physicians can predict post-operational blood flow patterns on Wednesday and use this information for personalized planning. Next, please. And after the operation, patients will receive reduced complications and improved quality of life. Next, please. We have different modules in the software dedicated for different imaging types. Tomography data, MRI data, and also personalized implantation parameters information. Next, please. With our system, we address the problems of different stakeholders. So for the physicians, it's a very unique data to perform better, easier, faster decision-making. For the healthcare system, we would like to bring healthier society and lower the treatment cost. And finally, for the medical companies who manufactures medical devices, it's a unique product to test their new generation devices before they release them into the market. Next, please. And the good thing is that cardiac planning is just the beginning. With our system, we would like to expand our application range to the pediatric cardiology, cerebrovascular diseases, and also orthopedic plannings. Next, please. We have a very young, interdisciplinary, and expert team with a combination of engineers, medical people, and doctors. Next, please. We are also supported by different experienced coaches and mentors in Switzerland. Next, please.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I have to stop here. Thank you very much, Utku Gülen. I'd like to ask Taku Nakahara back, and also for you a 2.5-minute Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Tuk. So could you tell me a little bit about the system itself? You just need some radiographic data to plan the surgical operation, or you need another device or something like that to capture other data to?
Absolutely. Not. We don't need any extra scans. We directly use the standard MRI or CT data, anatomy data, and we combine with our blood flow predictions and use this information for the personalized planning.
Okay, got it. And about your AI part, so do you need some training data to get the better results for the AI, or you are more kind of analytical modeling type of algorithm too?
Yes, we are training the data. So we already trained more than 35,000 medical limits, and with our projects, we would like to extend our training data as well.
Where were the data from? So is that from only from Switzerland or other?
At the moment, from 2 different countries, but mainly from Switzerland.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And I think this is a very new and probably there is no direct competitor, but
absolutely, that's correct. We have
potential competitor, not necessarily be the direct competitor.
Yes, we have indirect competitors who perform pre-operational planning, analyzing or segmenting the medical image. But what we bring to the market, which is novel, is the full blood flow analysis and combine this information with the anatomies. So that's why we are the first in the market. And that's why we would like to penetrate to Japanese market as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And about your market expansion strategy. So do you think you should bring everything by your own, or do you think you should partner with some other companies and be a part of other products or services? Which is your strategy?
Well, our strategy for Switzerland and Germany, we use our own sales forces, our own team. But of course, for the other countries, for example, for Japan, we need some partners to be able to better understand the market needs and also penetrate the market.
Thank you very much. Perfect in time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Utku and Taka. Okay, we go to our next startup. Brain surgeries are highly complex procedures requiring advanced training and skills. Surgeons Lab introduces a new brain surgical simulator for training medical residents and brain neurosurgeons for complex microsurgeries on a patient-specific case space. Frederick Johnson has more on it.
Good morning and good evening all. I'm Frederick, I'm the CEO and founder of Surgeons Lab. So as Tanya said, we are here to change the way how brain surgeries and micro brain surgeries are planned and done today. Next slide, please. So having known the problem of complex brain surgeries, we created patient-specific head model having different components of the patient brain, starting with the skull, the approach our brain surgeries got into with all the blood components, as well as the blood vessels and the pathology of the brain. As you see on the image here is the simulator. So the simulator has a plug and play patient-specific head where the simulator has all the physiology of the patient mimicked. And the software tries to plan how the procedure is going to be done on the patient. It's completely a patented technology, and we also validated this with 25 surgeons in Switzerland. Next slide, please. So the technology is nothing but a patient model will be shipped to a hospital before a surgery, and the approach of the surgical procedures is transferred into the real surgery preoperatively, so that the implants approach of the surgery can be very well planned. By doing so, the hospital can save 50% of their time, as well as patient safety is highly achieved. Next slide, please. One part of our business is also is to train the medical residents in the medical schools and medical universities, so that they have a pre-exposure, very realistic haptics and reality feedback on the simulator, so that they can go and operate on the patient with their senior doctors. By doing so, we reduce 3 to 4 years of their residency period, so that we make sure a medical resident in the neurosurgery can receive their board certification faster and quicker. We also save more than 50 to 60,000 US dollars of annual budget of a neurosurgery department for training their residents. Next slide, please. Globally, we have received 17 letters of intent. Next slide, please. And we also have got pre-orders from B. Braun. B. Braun have also invested in the company, as well as Carl Zeiss, and we also are in the last stage of the venture kick process, supported by InnoSwiss as well. Next slide, please. And we have our training center here established in Bern, and we wanted to also establish our training centers in other countries too. Very recently, we also acquired pre-orders from China and Indonesia, so which we are also looking for some partners in Japan as well. Next slide, please. And we have a very multidisciplinary team. Together with me, one of the neurosurgeons is also founding, and we have 2 of the top neurosurgeons as well in the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Frederick. We ask Taku Nakahara back for a short Q&A feedback session, and you can start now.
Thank you, Frederick. Just let me clarify. So you need to set up the training center locally, right?
Yeah.
So how much does it cost to set up one training center?
We at the moment, our strategy is to set up a training center here only in Bern, in the hospital here. So the plan is to collaborate together with the hospital locally in any one specific city, so that the hospital will take a collaboration portfolio, so that they can also invite the other nearby medical universities. So it is together with the surgeon's lab. So it depends on the city we choose and the other infrastructure, for instance.
Okay. Could you? I see some of potential your competitors. So like using the virtual reality to train the surgeons or something like that. Could you tell me your view of your competition and how you position in the competitive landscape?
As you mentioned, there are 2 competitors for endovascular procedure done using cardiovascular and endovascular procedures, but there are no direct competitors for the surgical simulation itself, as well as there are virtual reality simulators, but they are not explicitly in the market. For such a kind of complex surgeries, your hand coordination is very important. So we don't have any competitors in the market who can provide real haptics and tactility. So I think we place ourselves very good in the market.
Got it. And if you expand your business to Japan, probably you will need your service person to support the doctors, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of party would you like to collaborate with in terms of getting into the Japanese market?
We are looking for some distributors who already has some portfolio in neurosurgery and neuronavigation. So it makes more sense for the distributors to have previous knowledge and experience. They could also package the whole set, like a neuronavigation device for neurosurgical instruments. They could package all this, and then they could get into the chief of a hospital, for instance. That's more suitable for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Frederick. Also a big thank you to our expert, Taku Nakahara. That was the last startup in the second session. Thank you for asking those questions. And of course, to the 3 startups in this session, Urodeo, Heidi Imaging, and Surgeons Lab, for presenting your smart health solutions for a fast aging society. Then to you out there, if you liked what you've heard, you can scan the QR code, which you see usually at the beginning of the pitches, and then you land to a page where you find all the contacts of all the startups. We'll leave you now with another short video, and we'll be right back for our last sessions, Humans and Machines, so don't go away.
スイスへようこそ。スイスは素晴らしい観光地ということのみならず、ビジネスにも絶好の場所なことを皆さんはご存知ですか？ヨーロッパの中央に位置し、世界最高のインフラを整備しています。さらに電車は常に定刻通りです。さあ、旅に出かけましょう。スイスには4つの公用語があることをご存知ですか？ Ja, non, forse, betudia, don't worry ご心配なく、みんな英語力は抜群です。だからといって一日中おしゃべりしているわけではありません。働くことが大好きですから。2012年には休暇を増やす法案が否決されました。ユニークな国でしょう。でも安心してください。スイスの経済と政治は世界一安定しています。さらに卓越した人材プールと規制緩和された労働市場が相まって、スイスを世界中で最も革新的で競争力を備えた国にしています。スイスの二重教育制度では、職業教育と普通教育の両方が見事に組み合わさっています。産業はどうでしょう。国別工業生産高ではドイツ、アメリカ、中国の方がよく知られているかもしれません。でも1人当たりの工業生産高で見ると、これらの国よりスイスの方が高いことをご存知ですか？驚きでしょう。スイスは小さな国ですが、世界の価値ある企業ランキングのトップ20に3つのスイス企業がランクインしています。それから生活水準も最高です。それが世界で最も住みやすい都市ランキングにスイスの街が3つ入っている理由です。スイスは世界一国民の幸福度が高い、地球上で一番幸せな国の一つでもあります。年間1人当たり平均12キロのチョコレートを食べるからかもしれませんね。スイスはイノベーションを生み出すのに最適な場所です。安定した政治、経済、金融と最高の生活水準がここにあります。私たちはあなたのビジネスを歓迎します。さあ、スイスに投資してみませんか？ Switzerland Global Enterprise Enabling New Business。 詳しくは s-ge.com/Japan をご覧ください。
Welcome back to the last session. And when we think of Japan, it's also often associated with robots and computers. And as their role is becoming more significant, we want to present you Swiss tech companies that optimize the interaction between humans and machines. So let's go into our last round of pitches, and we'll hear from Weiray, Avatronics, Animatico, and Scandit. And our expert in this session will be the same as in the first session, Shunpei Kobayashi from Plug and Play Japan. Okay, so our first startup in the category here is Weiray, and the company promises to create a virtual world around a moving car and continuously changes in sync with the route and the driver's preferences through their augmented reality experience. And for the Japanese friends out there, you won't need a translator for this one. For the non-Japanese audience, this 3-minute pitch will be in Japanese only. Philippe Monnier, the stage is yours.
こんにちは。私はウェイレイ取締役のモニエと申します。本日は日本の皆様にウェイレイの紹介をさせていただきます。次のスライドをお願いします。ウェイレイは2012年に設立されました。ウェイレイにとっては日本の事業は市場であり、奥の市場であり、または技術協力、共同生産の場であり、大切な資金調達の場でもあります。次のスライドお願いします。ウェイレイの主力製品は拡張現実ホログラフィックヘッドアップディスプレイでございます。具体的に何かと申しますと、先端技術を使った特殊なガラスで、それを使うと情報を現実の景色の上に上乗せする形でお見せることができるということです。例えば、この特殊ガラスを車のフロントガラスに使用すると、車のドライバーは安全に運転するために必要なすべての情報を現実の景色の上に上乗せした形で視線の下に落とすことなく見ることができます。次のスライドお願いします。ウェイレイの製品は既存のものとは異なります。ウェイレイの技術が作り出す仮想画像は快適な距離でかつ広い視野に投影されるため、情報が自然な形で目に入ってくることができます。次のスライドお願いします。 ウェレのプロジェクターは非常に小さいでございます。次のスライドお願いします。ウェレの強みは、これら表彰サイズのプロジェクター、革新的なレーザーテクノロジー、ホログラムが映し出されるスマートフロントガラスなどのテクノロジーを自社で全て所有しているところです。次のスライド。ウェレの製品は自動業界以外にも多くの業界での需要が見込めます。次のスライド。例えば、電車、建物、船舶での利用。次のスライド。ウェイレの製品はすでに世界中の多くのメディアで取り上げられております。次のスライド。すでにポルシュ、アリババ、JVC ケンウッドなどの大規模投資家から約100億円以上を投資していただいております。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Arigato. Thank you so much, Philippe Monnier. And we're also now moving to the Q&A, and this one will be in English then. Then I ask Shunpei Kobayashi to come back on the stream. And you have 2.5 minutes for that.
Hi, Felipe. Thank you very much for that presentation. Really interested in your company and technology. I think your company is a relatively later stage company, and I was wondering which region is the biggest market for you guys now, and what other markets are you guys looking into currently?
I think the natural focus we have is in Europe because we are working with a number of car companies because of the closeness, because of, I would say, long-term relation, including investment relation. So definitely the short-term focus is Europe. I would say mid-term, all the big markets are very important for us, including Japan, China, USA, and so on.
Got it. You talked a little bit about application outside of the automotive industry. Could you be able to talk a little bit about the e-commerce applications as well?
Yes, because our technology, we use it on a very short-term basis for the driver to provide safety-related information. But very soon we will use our technology not for the driver, but for the passengers and the user of driverless car. And then we have the ability to project any kind of infotainment, information, entertainment, advertisement, to have a real marketplace around the car, embedded into reality using our technology.
Makes sense. This is all futuristic. And I was wondering, when will we be able to see mass adoption of this technology, I guess, in your point of view?
Okay, we have different product and different market. Focusing on the main product, the one I introduced, reasonably, I would say to have it in the market with a small volume, 2022, on to this very big volume with very big car companies, 2024-25.
Got it. Really looking forward to that. And one last question. I think it's an integration of a lot of different technologies. If you had to pick, is the strength in the hardware or the software?
I would say probably the most difficult is the hardware, especially the thin film that is within the windshield, which creates hologram.
Thank you, Felipe.
Thank you to you.
Thank you very much, Philippe Monnier and Shunpei. Our next startup, Avatronics. They want to enhance your hearing experience. The startup develops a noise cancellation technology for consumer electronics and transport industries, enabling a noise-free experience in the noisiest environments. But for now, let's hear it from Ceyran Hezavi.
Thank you, Tanya. Hello, everyone. My name is Ceyran Hezavi. I'm co-founder, CEO of Avatronics, and we are a Swiss, Lausanne-based noise cancellation company. Next, please. Noise impacts everyone, It increases the stress, chances of heart diseases, and even hearing loss. It also decreases our cognitive abilities, productivity, and communication qualities. Next. Naturally, everyone is trying to get rid of noise. The best solution to this problem is active noise cancellation, where you cancel the noise with the exact opposite anti-noise. In theory, this is very simple, but in practice, you have to do this very quickly and accurately, otherwise you can make it worse. You have to have a powerful solution, low cost, low power, and you have to be able to cancel all frequencies, or in other words, have a wideband solution. Next. An example of this is the situation in airplane, for example. Humans hear between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. That's what you see at the bottom of the page. When you enter an airplane, the engine noise is around 1 kilohertz in frequency band. People speaking around you reach around 4 or 5 kilohertz, but when a baby starts crying, it easily reaches 8 kilohertz. Any headphone, if you put it on your ears, can get rid of high frequencies, 4 or 5 kilohertz and up. The best active noise cancellation solution, with headphone, can only get rid of up to 1 kilohertz, and everything in the middle is untouched and left for you to be heard. We have a patented solution that covers this gap and provides a wideband active noise cancellation. Next. Our patented technology is an embedded solution that can easily get integrated in various technologies and devices. It is wideband, high performance, low cost, and low power. Next. We have a licensing business model and currently are running multiple pilots with major manufacturers. We do have projects in headphones, webcam, teleconferencing. We are developing our own demonstrator electric car that will demonstrate road noise cancellation inside the cabin, and also are working on pilots for trains and airplanes. Next, please. Avatronics was launched in 2016 in Lausanne. We have a subsidiary in Soundtop, Denmark, and this is the place that actually I'm making the presentation from. We closed our first round of financing early this year, and we are planning to open the next round next year. Next, please.
Thank you very much.
That's it, basically. These are our awards and recognitions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jayron, for cutting that unnecessary noise and giving us a break for our ears when we need it. Shunpei is back for a short Q&A of 2.5 minutes with you.
Sure.
Hi, Jayron. Thank you for that presentation. I have a 1-year-old at home, so I can really feel the pain point here. So I got the impression that you can really use this product in many settings. I was wondering if you guys have a focus in terms of the Japanese market. Which industry would you like to enter first?
Oh, of course, Japan actually is really big market, both in terms of the manufacturers that are active there, and also I know noise is something that is very important to cancel in the Japanese environment, and having good concentration in a crowded place, for example, for your teleconferencing or even for your own working, is something that we are very interested in, and we are hoping actually CEATEC and this environment will provide us good channel into the country. Of course, it's very diverse. So the car industry, Japan is big. Headphone, webcam, anything, smart TVs, for example, is something that we are very interested and we are actively working on.
Yeah, I can definitely see how this is relevant for the manufacturing setting. And I would assume these will be in some kind of headphones, canceling noises for the workers. In that case, how long do these devices last in terms of battery life?
Oh, the entire algorithm has been designed to be low power. So in terms of what we are doing, we are very competitive with any solution that you have in the market, but provide lesser bandwidth in terms of, frequency range and so on and so forth. This by nature is a very low power solution.
Got it. And you also mentioned that you're doing further financing in the future. In terms of product development, I was wondering what stage the product is at and if there's more developments that are going to be done in the future.
We have a licensing business model, so we do not produce something that is supposed to be mass produced. In some cases, we are working with the manufacturers. They provide their own device that they need active noise cancellation for, and we apply it only for the software part of it. The hardware is there, it would be theirs. For example, for the automotive, this was the case that we purchased one for the company. We decided to have our own demonstrator, which will be shown to all the customers. We are equipping it with the hardware for that.
Thank you so much, Ceyran and Shunpei. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to that.
Sure.
We go to our next startup, and I'd rather don't say too much about our next company, because once you'll see it, you'll get it, because there's no point in me explaining how charming their avatars are. I prefer to just leave the floor to Riccardo Roveri to introduce you to the world of Animatico.
Hi everyone, thank you Tanya for the introduction. My name is Riccardo and I'm a co-founder of Animatico. We are a young spin-off from ETH Zurich with the goal of humanizing devices and in particular kiosks with interactive avatars. Next slide please. Companies are introducing interactive kiosks heavily to interact with their clients in their physical locations, such as restaurants, airports, cities, companies' lobbies, and so on. They allow to reduce costs and also to increase sales, as it happened to McDonald's, for example, when they introduced touchscreens in each of their stores. Next slide, please. However, interactive screens come with a big drawback. They replace services previously provided by humans, and thus they remove the welcoming nature, the intuitiveness, the perfect assistance, and also the upselling and cross-selling opportunities. Our avatars see, hear, and speak to the people in front of the screens, bringing back a human touch to the screens. And here is a video of our technology. Next slide, please.
Hey, you, just come a bit closer. Morning, your first time here? Cool, I love making new friends. And how did you hear about us? You can also talk to me, I am all ears.
I follow you on Instagram, I saw your pictures there.
I hope you gave us a like then. And how was your experience here today? You can be honest with me.
It was a 2, I would say. I didn't like it that much.
Sorry to hear. And what's the main reason for this?
The staff was the problem.
Got it, the staff. I promise we will improve. Finally, would you mind telling me some more details about what happened? You can speak freely now, and remember
well,
that
the
your
first
answers
person was very rude,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second employee couldn't help me. Next slide, please. All right, so basically our technology, as you saw in the video, is an AI character simulation, which is based on mainly 3 pillars: an emotional intelligence modeling component to make sure that the characters show the right emotions and empathy all the time, an interactive animation algorithm to make sure that the characters react constantly and in real time to what their users do in front of the screen, and of course, a large computer vision and audio processing component. For our clients, we bring more successful usage of kiosks, an easier experience for first-time users or non-tech savvy users, a more efficient experience for expert users, and also upselling opportunities. Which is very interesting in these times, our characters are completely touchless and thus are more hygienic and accessible. Next slide, please. In order to make this happen, we put together a team of experts in computer graphics and computer vision with backgrounds at ETH Zurich and Disney Research. We are currently working on projects in retail, hospitality, and visitor management, where our characters are receptionists, concierge, and product recommenders. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Riccardo. Thank you so much also for being flexible and talking over that video. Really looking forward to see your avatars. But first, we ask Shunpei back for a short Q&A, and I'm setting the time now, 2.5 minutes.
Hi, Ricardo. Thank you for that presentation. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to ask, in terms of the technology, I believe the AI is the strength of your company. I was wondering how that is different from any of the other products that might be on market, and how customizable are these avatars?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. So our main technology is having these avatars reacting in real time and having an interactive animation algorithm that always generates the right animation. You might not have seen it in the video because there was no audio, but for example, when the user starts talking, the avatar starts nodding and says like, mm-hmm, you know, like we humans do. Compared to competitors, there are a few companies out there that focus on photorealistic digital humans. And this is something we want to stay away from. We are focusing on stylized characters, and this is a conscious choice because this lets us focus on the interaction, making the interaction really human, rather than focusing on the visual, which then limits the interaction possibilities.
Mm-hmm. And does your product require any special hardware as well?
No, it just it works on normal device like a tablet or a computer, and it just requires a camera and a normal microphone.
I see. Got it. Got it. In terms of the Japanese market, if you could work with any company here, who would that be? Mm-hmm. Or which industry would it be?
Yeah. So in general, our first markets are the ones of retail, hospitality, and in general, visitor management and access control. I think for expanding to Japan, what we're looking for is more partners that can let us understand these markets. So I would say the big digital signage or interactive kiosks company would be the perfect partner for us.
Cool. Last quick question. Was very interested to know who the avatar is based on, modeled off of. Is it you, Ricardo?
Yeah, we get this a lot. No, it's not on me, but it's on my colleague Pascal. Yeah.
I see. I see. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very nice. We'll go to our next startup. And I don't know if you have already scanned the QR code below. Well, this one is easy to scan, but sometimes it's not. But no matter how far away, how small, or if covered or not, with ScanDit, you can scan any barcode. With their solution, they want to help transform business processes across industries such as logistics, healthcare, or retail. And Benjamin Hempel takes you on a tour. Stage is yours.
Hello, good morning, Tanya. Hope you can see my slides now. So thank you all for joining today. Today I want to talk about how you can use ScanDit mobile computer vision technology to enable contactless experiences. We are ScanDit, we are scale up from Zurich with now like nearly 250 people. We have strong partnerships with Samsung, Apple, and GS1, and we have multiple successful funding rounds to fund our growth. Now, when I say computer vision for the modern enterprise, what do I mean? I mean that we can take any device, a smartphone, a robot, a drone, and we can make it perceive the world, all offline directly on device. At the moment, we do barcodes, we do text, and we are planning to release some object recognition features next year. So far, our strongest feature, barcode. So we can make a normal smartphone to an industry strength barcode reader, very fast, very reliable. If you would be in a real booth and a real trade show with us, you would see this rotator scanning very quickly and reliable those barcodes. But that's relatively simple to do, relatively. The key is when you scan multiple barcodes and track them with our matrix scan technology. So you can do batch scanning, or you can get one of those pesky labels scanned at one go. And you can also use this tracking information to augment reality with digital information. So here, for example, on a shelf, quickly allowing an employee to interact with the products on the shelf. So really blending digital data with the physical world using barcodes as an anchor point. And you can easily integrate our technology using our software development kits into your own applications. Now, how can you use that to reduce touch points? How can you use that to increase convenience and make it all life a little bit easier? For consumers, we can enable contactless shopping. You go into a store, you scan things yourself and check out on your phone. You can check into venues for track and trace and can get self-serve information. And if you need a healthcare check done, sample collection is super easily done and orchestrated via barcodes and phones. All of which without expensive and dedicated devices. And the same, we can enable businesses to really scale up their operations to handle sudden peaks in demand, especially in e-commerce and gig workers in the delivery industry. You would not be the first one that does that with us. So I picked out a few transport companies, retailers, field services, healthcare organizations, and governments around the world, where we are the tech provider for contactless experiences. So you find them in North and South America, in Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, and we also have our first customers in Japan. So with that, I hope you enjoyed to hear a little bit about contactless experiences with computer vision from Scandit. I'm Benjamin Hempel, I'm a solutions consultant, and I hope if you want to learn more, go on a CEATEC booth, email us, visit our Japanese homepage, because we are looking for more clients and partners in the Japanese market. So looking forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you so much. Then I'm also asking back Shunpei for a short Q&A feedback session, and you have also 2.5 minutes.
Hi, Benjamin. Thank you very much for that presentation. Amazing video at the beginning with the spinning wheels. So I think your product combines a lot of technology, including machine learning, OCR, object recognition. What ultimately is the strength of your product?
I think our strength really relies in a lot of R&D and knowledge about not just how to make the technology really reliable, but also the industry knowledge on how to apply it properly in different industries, and the enterprise support that you get from us for from the first start, where usually I'm involved, getting your use cases sorted out to which product is the best for you and how you implement it best. And I think the key strength is also that we do it all offline. There's no cloud processing, there's no delay. You instantly get a result. And that sets us apart from a lot of other solutions in the market who do rely on internet and cloud connectivity.
Great. I also saw that you already had a pin down on the map on Japan. So I was wondering when you guys entered the Japanese market, and I know you guys work with Toyota already, but which other industry or companies would you like to work with in Japan?
So we kind of already slightly entered the market. So we have a sales director and a field marketing manager in Japan. And once you can immigrate, I will be there as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Our biggest strength is definitely retailers, grocery retailers, manufacturing companies, field services, and post parcel express. And we think there's a lot that we can contribute to the Japanese society with, enabling to use make life more convenient generally, and also use capacities, working capacities that are available in the Japanese society you can't tap into at the moment.
Yeah, I think especially for the supply chain industry, this is very, very relevant in terms of Japan. You also closed a financing round this year, I think. What are the next big plans for your company?
So at the moment, big plan for us is the expansion to Asia Pacific, which is, we have some clients here, but now being local and expanding the business bigger. We will see. So far we had a good Series C funding. Let's see what the next step is in that area.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. Also, thank you to Shunpei. That was the last Q&A that you moderated. Thank you so much for all those questions as well. And we are actually already at the end of session 3, actually almost at the end of the swisstech.Pitchinar. I would like to thank all the startups. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing ideas, your products, your services. In only almost 1.5 hours, we got a glimpse of what tech can do, how you can help us in the new normal, and also help hopefully Japan in entering the Society 5.0. Now, I would like to ask Kyoko Marumo Suzuki. She's the head of Science and Technology Office Tokyo at the Embassy of Switzerland in Japan, who also organized this event, for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Tanya. On behalf of the Embassy of Switzerland in Japan, I would like to first congratulate all the presenters for their excellent presentations. It was very easy to understand, I believe, but you must have very more technical secrets behind your inventions. So I hope we get a lot of reactions from the audience. Thank you also to Shunpei Kobayashi and Taku Nakahara. I was very grateful for your superb questions and insights. Thank you. I look forward to working with you again. And kudos to Tanya for the wonderful moderation. Thank you to all the supporters that enabled today's Pitchinar: President Switzerland, Switzerland Global Enterprise, Swiss Business Hub Japan, the Science and Technology Office's headquarters, State Secretariat of Education, Research and Innovation, and the SwissNext Network, to which our office belongs to. And of course, the team at the Swiss Embassy in Japan, led by Michael Vogelsanger. Michael, do you want to say hello? Okay, that was a surprise to him. So I would like to finally remind all our viewers that the QR code that Tanya has been kindly mentioned will be shown at the end slide after my remarks. Please use the QR code. And there is also a questionnaire that you will receive, which also gives the contact of the, not just the presenters, but also of the Science and Technology Office Tokyo. Because if you would like to provide your first contact in Japanese, we are here for you. I noticed that during the session, one participant sent a question in Japanese to the Q&A. I am not sure the answer reached the question person who asked the question, because we cannot see. But in the questionnaire, there is a way to reach us. So thank you very much to everyone, for the presenters and the audience and the enablers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyoko Marumo Suzuki, also for organizing all of this. Thank you so much. On this note, I would also like to just thank again the startups, the experts, also all the sponsors that Mrs. Suzuki mentioned, and of course to you, our audience. Thank you so much for joining, and last but not least, the ambassador for also being part of this event. Now, I would like to ask everyone to come up back on this stream, because we would like to say have a group goodbye. So if everyone could turn their cameras on and get back on the stream, and yeah, we'll just have a toast, a virtual toast, a wave of goodbye. Thank you so much for being here. As you've heard, the QR code will be in the end if you want to get in touch with any of the startups. And there, through the QR code, you will also land on a page where we will upload this stream. This video will be uploaded there, so if you want to share it with your friends. Thank you so much. I'm Tanya Koenig, and it was my pleasure to moderate this event. Thank you for joining, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Konnichiwa. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.